I'm going to head right into my presentation. So I will say bom dia, goedemorgen, good morning to everyone. As Kamla already introduced me a bit, I am very honored actually to be here today to speak to you about the topic that is very close to me, which is AI, which I was quite interested in when I started a few years ago. Um, The evolution of small and medium enterprises and family-owned businesses in the age of artificial intelligence. As she said, I am the president of the Chamber of Commerce of Sint Eustatius and Seba. And I am also a board member for Het Cultuurfonds Caribisch Gebied. So we give grants for cultural activities on the island. We are situated on all 6 of the islands, and I am an entrepreneur myself. I have my own company. It's called Big Enterprises. We are basically in logistics and we do other small things because, of course, being on a small island, you have to wear many caps and do a lot of different things in order to become more successful in every aspect. Okay. As a passionate advocate for entrepreneur, I have witnessed firsthand the challenges as well as the opportunities that businesses face today, especially with what's happening around the world today. The advent of artificial intelligence presents us with the unique crossroads, and it's crucial that we navigate it at an early era effectively. To begin, let's take a moment to recognize the significant role that the SMEs and the family-owned businesses play in our current economy. These businesses not only provide jobs for millions of people, but also contributes to local communities and foster innovation. They are the backbone of the economies, driven growth and create opportunities. Family-owned businesses in particular brings a sense of identity and the heritage to the marketplace. They embody values such as trust, commitment, and long-term vision. However, the rapid pace of technology itself changes the possess of the pace on both the opportunities for small enterprises. So we're going to touch base on a few of the topics such as artificial intelligence also being a double-edged sword and how artificial intelligence can benefit small and medium enterprises and family-owned businesses, navigating the challenges, and of course, looking ahead. For small and medium enterprises and family-owned businesses, the key to embrace artificial intelligence is an ally rather than seeing it as a threat. By leveraging artificial intelligence from the data, automate a routine task, and ultimately free up resources to focus on what truly matters. So basically, it gives you the opportunity to do more while the artificial intelligence is doing basically the hard work. It enhances customer experience. Artificial empowers, how you say, we have chatbots. And the virtual assistants allow businesses to interact and customers properly to effectively be more interactive with the businesses itself. This leads to improved satisfaction for both sides, meaning the business and also for the customers. The data-driven decision-making AI tool can analyze large database to help understand customers' behavior and also the strategies that optimize marketing. This empowers small and medium enterprises to make informed decisions that drives their growth. Operating efficiently, automations of repetitive tasks through artificial intelligence can lead to significant costs, also but saving and increased productivity by allowing machines to handle routine work The business itself can focus on strategical innovatives. As you have seen lately, a lot of artificial intelligence is actually taken over. If you look more at China and Tokyo, you can go to a hotel, you do not have to interact with a individual. However, you are meted and greeted by an artificial intelligence. Your drinks are mixed by an artificial intelligence. But then the threat leads to where will it leave humanity in the future when it comes to jobs and being able to have fundings to survive within this economy. Personalization. AI can help tailor products to service the individual, basically yourself and the customer's preference, creating a more personalized experience. This is especially beneficial for family-owned businesses, which can often rely on customer relationship. So as you know, some persons they more prefer to interact with a person rather than a Autobot or an AI artificial intelligence. You go to Amazon, you have a question, the first thing you say, I want to speak to a human. You don't want to speak to an artificial intelligence because it's going to give you more of a direct answer rather than actually trying to solve certain problems. Looking at AI as a double-edged sword, it's incredible. It's basically a very incredible tool to streamline by making decision, the risk of disruption, and as we ask ourselves, is it an ally or is it a threat? While the potential benefits of AI are substantial, it's important to recognize the challenges that comes with it. A skill gap. Many small and medium enterprises and family-owned businesses may lack the technology skills needed to implement artificial intelligence. So it is crucial to invest in trainings and develop to ensure employees are equipped to leverage these technologies effectively. As you have noticed, AI started very simple in the past, where you could actually type in a few words, it creates an image. As you have noticed in today's world, that artificial intelligence has become more realistic. You can actually create movies using artificial intelligence. And even if I personally did not want to do a face-to-face presentation, I could have created a whole artificial intelligence video with my face that will have smoothly done the presentation. And I could have probably having a coffee and a croissant somewhere across the street until I figured out when to return back to my computer. The cost of implementation, the initial cost itself, is daunting for small businesses. It's quite costly because you always have to keep upgrading. In the world of technology, it is never perfect. As you have noticed, when it comes to Windows, it's continually upgrading. So nothing is perfect. We are right now, I believe, at Windows 10 or 11, and possibly by 2030, we're at Windows 14, because you always have to keep upgrading, being more innovative, and we're definitely going to see how long AI is going to last in this economy. The culture adaptation, as AI changes how we operate our businesses, we must foster a culture of encouragement, of innovation, and adaptability. This is where family values can be a great asset, as a strong culture can support the transition. Basically, meaning we all are getting older. We might not be able to adapt to the changes of the technology with AI. That's where we bring our younger generation, which is our next of kin, on board. So that's where it becomes more of a family owned business, because now they are taken over to upgrade your business in this new age of the economy, with AI being a very important role for the future. How can AI benefit small and medium enterprises and family-owned businesses? As I mentioned before, it can enhance customer experience. Basically, interview the client for you, where you will be able to get all the information needed to upgrade your business and seeing what the client needs. The data-driven decision making, it can also do that for you to look and discover what is actually happening around the world. So the more information that you put into AI, it adapts where it needs less information from you yourselves. So basically, I can create a whole profile for myself by using my name. I can tap into Chat GPT or and say, create a profile for Daniela Richardson, and based on my past experience with ChatGPT, it has already collected enough data to create a profile and able to do that within seconds. Of course, you cannot always rely on artificial intelligence to do everything for you. I do recommend that you go over whatever it has done to adjust it that fits more to you so it adapts to make it feel more of what you are trying to say rather than the technology itself. It could misspell letters still, so you also have to check the spelling. You also have to make sure it's realistic what they're talking about, because it could be talking of something that's not happening because it's already grasping into information from all over the internet. Okay, I already spoke a bit about that. The challenges, as mentioned, could be the adaptation for our older generation to adapt to the artificial intelligence, learning and growing along with it. These days, there are a lot of different apps that you can download so that you can adapt to it. I know for sure there is one called Leonardo AI that is more available to create videos for you. I actually started with AI 2 years ago with my nephew. I created an artificial intelligence. I then had to download another app to change the face of the AI to make it look like my nephew, and then another one to create the voice. So you can actually make it look like you, it can sound like you. But then the threat is these things can be used in the wrong hands of an other individual who has no pride in what they do. We understand that scamming is becoming more effective. They are not only hacking into your computers, changing your passwords. AI can actually sound like you. So one day you might receive a phone call that's someone that sounds like your cousin or your mom or your friend, and it can ask you to transfer money. It can ask you to send it to certain accounts or whatever. So as it says before, it is a threat, or it can be an ally to help you within your business. But we do have to be careful. We also need to not only look at advancing in the world of technology when it comes to artificial intelligence, but also cyber security is also very important, because we do have to protect our business, we have to protect our funds, just in case something happens in the future. Again, thank you for your attention, and I look forward to engaging in a discussion with you on artificial intelligence. Kamala has my contact details if anyone would like to reach out. Stacia and Saba are actually very small islands. I will have to say we are a population of 4,000 on St. Eustatius alone, and about 2,000 on Saba. So we are still always looking for innovation. We're always still looking to reach out to the outside world. And I was very happy and lucky to meet Kamala and her son in St. Martin, a family-owned business, so that this was able to happen.
Thank you very much, Daniela. So it's not so much a family-owned business, so that I'm so thankful I have Control working with me, because I do tend to work very long hours. So he sometimes says I use him as slave labor, but That's how we build CCGI because it is a lot of work when it's a small organization. Daniela, I want to thank you. This you've raised some really, really critical points here. I love how you have put it across the general theme in terms of embracing AI as an ally, but understanding that it can be a threat as well.
Right.
And I really like this example you gave where, how much AI is taken over in some respects. So, for instance, as you said, in China and in Tokyo, you can go to a hotel, it can serve you things and you just don't yet interact with a human.
No.
And the very crucial question you then ask, in terms of, so what does this mean now for human survival in terms of employment and this kind of economy? So definitely something we need to think about, especially for our small economies and with family-owned businesses where there is an emotional tie as well to ensuring that everyone's well-being is taken care of. I also like that you have pointed out there are lots of benefits in terms of efficiencies and ability to analyze and use data and all of that. But the fact that it is costly and you have
Yes.
to constantly upgrade. So, it's not a one-time cost that you invest in once you go down that road. Uh, but truth is, we don't have an option. We do have to, AI is here. And
Yeah.
and the example you gave with using Leonardo AI, where you
Yes.
can make it look and sound like you,
Yeah.
which is fascinating and fun until it gets into the wrong hands.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was really very, very pleased when I met you because I saw the passion that you had in terms of using the AI and getting to know. I mean, more than me. I am not as innovative as you are with this, So I really wanted to bring you to be able to share your personal experience with this as well. So tell me at this point where you have already started using the many apps, creating things and all that as you look at your community, your role as president of the chamber, where really do you want to see this go at this point in time?
Well, we are working on a few projects. We just held two seminars with the businesses on both Saba and Stacia, and we are trying to get everyone up to speed, especially when it comes to like copyrights and trademarking. That's another workshop that we're going to work on, but we are going to focus on marketing. I know there are persons in the community who are very good with marketing. You can pay them 200 or $900 a month to create something for you, but also in the fact that you also have to be behind of them. How far are you and stuff like that. Using AI technology, if you know what you're doing, if you have the right apps and you have upgraded, you can just put in a few words. It can create image, it can create a flyer, it can create videos. So we're reaching to that point where we are trying to get our community up to date in regards to AI being more innovative, because if persons come to our tiny, beautiful island, it's like they're saying to us, oh, but you guys don't have this, you guys don't have that, you're a bit stone age. But personally, I love the way that it is because it keeps you grounded and it keeps you with the culture that you were raised with instead of all this technology happening in the world today. I remember when I'm gonna say this, during the COVID time was the happiest time of my life. I didn't have to go outside and I didn't even bother with the internet. I stayed home, I read a book. I actually read a book. I haven't read a book in quite some time. And after that, I started purchasing books to sit down and read because it gives you a whole different aspect of things rather than what's happening outside.
Mhm.
It's scary when you look at
Yeah.
things on the internet, the way AI is going,
Mhm.
and it's just amazing the way that how you say it's really growing. Because if my dad was alive today, he will be like, I told you so. Because he was always telling me that this is going to change, things are going to happen. But you realize change is happening in a sense, like you see things that came from the past is coming back to the future, but then it takes another leap and go more towards the future. So if you showed your kids a photo that you were wearing bell bottoms in the 70s, they're going to tell you, oh, I ain't going to wear that. But 2 years ago, going to high school, that was a thing and they loved it.
Mm.
So it's a feeling when change is happening, you're seeing things that are happened in the past, and then all of a sudden, there's a big leap.
Yeah. Yeah. So the constant change and adaptation, as you say, is something that
Yes.
we have to work into how we deal with things. But I was sure, and I can totally relate to your feelings during the COVID period, because in as much as we did take the opportunity and we were able to really go on the online environment in a big way and truly started the growth of CCGI, I also
Yeah.
had time. I read the entire Harry Potter series during that period because I would never have had that kind of time.
Well,
For
besides that, that's how I actually started learning about AI.
mm,
And I took my time and I just started doing things and I started posting, and everyone was like, oh, she feels she's it. But if you see those same persons now, they are creating images, they are downloading other apps at this point, and they are like trying to bypass to say, hey, I'm more innovative with the AI and I can do this and I can do that. Compared to when I started, everyone was like, but what's she doing? Because it used to be like when you ask AI to create a image in the beginning, it will come out with three hands, an
mm,
eye in a different location, and now it looks like an actual human being. So you're
and
not sure what's happening right now.
all right, so I just want to let everyone know, our participants, we are opening this up to the Q&A segment now. So if you have a question or a comment, just raise your hand. I see that Edward Millington has put a couple questions in the chat for us. Edward, if you'd like to unmute and ask the questions directly, please let me know. Otherwise, I can read it out for you. Right, I see you have unmuted. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's always interesting to take part in this particular event over the last couple of days. And I will say that I had the opportunity, I think I said it yesterday evening, to take part in an investment forum. And one of the discussions that they had was not only cybersecurity, but how AI is changing the landscape. And there were discussions around the travel industry in the sense of shipping, cruise liners, and also in real estate and so forth. And from a small business perspective, it's very important. But as we would have discussed over the last couple of days due to this event, that really drive home the point in different areas, is questions that are here, especially for small businesses, family-owned businesses, because we are trying to keep on top and have the edge in this world with big business and so forth. So therefore, it comes down to this here. What are your thoughts, Mrs. Richardson, when it comes to the data used to make trusted decisions? Because small businesses are installing these products, and we all know by what we're using today. You go to DeepSeek, Chat GPT, and you can put in whatever information. It always has a twist to it that if you don't read it properly, if you don't take the time, and we see this happen in the law environment where cases are being referenced, and you have any reprimand of lawyers who not checking and verifying the output. So therefore, question number one, I guess we'll ask everything, but question number one is the data that's being used to make trusted decisions. So that's the easy part, 'cause you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Number two, are there any challenges, awareness, etc., around AI trustworthiness? Is this understood well in those small businesses because you don't have the IT, you might not have sometimes the time, etc. And number three, our family businesses, especially, are there such risk awareness, visibility, or is it still developing? So, in other words, is there any form of risk awareness surrounding AI? How is that being tackled? Because that lends itself into, am I trusting AI wholeheartedly? Or I'm always going to be verifying and just making sure the numbers and the letters and everything is being produced. And number two, what data am I training that information with? Because as you mentioned, your face, every time you upload a picture to see AI doing something, it is learning in the background. And for us who's in this field, I'm in the cybersecurity field, as much as they say that they're not keeping your data and you can delete it, I believe it is still there, right? And it's still being used. So we still have to be careful of that. So good three questions, and I look forward to your reply. Thank you very much, Cameron.
Okay,
So.
thank you,
Thanks,
Edward.
Edward. Yeah.
So
Daniela,
your
just before you start, if I may just add my little thought to that, and then you
okay.
can build on it, because it did occur to me while you were speaking, especially when you gave the example of building out the videos that now it can look and sound like you. So my children recognized this more than a year ago, and they
Mhm.
set up a safe word for the family, especially
Okay.
because we travel a lot now. My daughter is not home with me right now. So she says, Mommy, if you get a call saying something has happened to me or I need something, ask for the safe word
Mm-hmm.
so that you know it's me. You know, and so that's one of the things for family-owned businesses. I think we'd want to encourage people to go down that road because the challenges there, the threats do face us. So I'd allow you to continue and elaborate on that now.
Okay, so Mr. Edwards' first question was, what is your thoughts on the data used for trusted decisions making from AI? AI basically picks up everything that you do. Um, if you're in cyber technology, nothing is deleted off of the internet whatsoever. Even if it goes into your deleted files, it is actually never deleted. So in your chat GPT or whichever you use, all your information stays there. That's how AI can create a profile for you along the way. So you can ask them today to create a profile. You do some stuff in between in the next couple months, and then down the line, you ask them to create another profile. It then adds on more information that was used based on what you put into ChatGPT or whichever app that you're currently using. The challenges around trustworthiness for small and medium enterprises, it's how you say, it's a very thin line when it comes to trusting AI. You mentioned about having to double check words and stuff like that. I'm actually trying not to use AI too much when it comes to writing any documentations. The reason why, it's because I have to keep the brain cells working. If people are constantly using technology to do the work for them, they are not keeping their mind functioning. Um, it's the same as when persons are elderly persons try to do art activities. They try to create stuff, they play a little guitar. It's to help the arthritis from showing up into their hands, and they're not able to do things. So the trustworthiness with I wouldn't do too much with it because I need to keep the arthritis out of my head. I need to be able to think on my own and function on my own without having to depend on technology. Because what if, as we've seen in many movies before, what if technology shuts down? How will you be able to function without technology? I know some kids probably mightn't be able to function without their cell phones, but basically, or the internet. I've actually experienced internet going down during hurricane season, and everyone went crazy. So imagine what happens when the whole technology shuts down. For family-owned businesses, there is a small risk visibility. Um, It's still developing. However, I will always prefer to see a company face to face and not have to go through artificial intelligence. If I go to a restaurant, I want to be served by a human being. Reason why is during COVID, a lot of persons went through a lot of depression. They had no one to speak to. Everything was on the internet. But if you go to a supermarket or a restaurant and you meet a human, the emotions and the feelings are different. I had a colleague in Aruba. She was working at Starbucks. And you know, Starbucks, they have to write something on the cup with your name. And she met a gentleman who was a lawyer. Um, he was having a very bad day and he just ordered a tall coffee. And she got his name, wrote his name on the cup, wrote on top of the cup, "I hope you have a nice day." He went back to his office, actually sat down, read the cup, walked back to Starbucks, met her, thanked her, spoke to her, and they're currently right now married for the past 10 years. Amazing. But artificial intelligence would not be able to do that for you. So I hope that answers your question. Oh, there's some more questions.
Yes, so he's asking to what we call data governance is essential when we are training AI to help us. And I like in your response as well, Daniela, you made this point of the dependence on the technology. So, for instance, when there's a natural disaster, as the Northern Caribbean is prone to hurricanes and all that, and the infrastructure goes down,
Mm-hmm.
now you have to depend on yourself.
Correct.
So, in as much as I like this idea that you had shared earlier as well, the chamber is investing in capacity building for people in the island. So, you have all these workshops and training programs in how to use AI effectively. But you're also cautioning and saying, even for yourself, idea is to not become dependent.
Correct. We should not become fully dependent on technology. As I stated, we are basically on our islands are basically on the belt of hurricane. Something can happen. We've experienced that in 2017 during the Hurricane Irma, where most of our technology was down. Still today, they're busy fixing a few locations in St. Martin, and you have to be able to do things manually.
So these fixes are still happening after all these years?
They are still fixing, basically because in St. Martin they are not no longer Netherlands Antilles, where we have the 6 islands or 5 islands. They are basically like a country on their own. They're more independent, while Bonaire, Statia, and Saba are more under the Dutch, and we get more fundings and assistance from them. Another thing that we're looking at is when it comes to logistic wise, we are trying to reach out to our neighboring islands within the region because if things like these happen, we will not be able to receive help direct from
Mhm.
Holland. It takes a while. We have to reach out to our neighboring islands who are not effective for help. We've also experienced where we were not able to receive food for a few weeks to the island because the harbor in St. Martin was down and the boats could not come to the island. So everything had to be manual.
Yes, yes. So that I really like how you have brought this home to us, Daniela. I enjoy the story about the lawyer who is now happily married to,
Yes,
to the barrister from Starbucks. But also, as you were saying, the AI is great. We can use it in so many ways. But when it comes down to a disaster and we are in dire need, it is
hmm,
people around us who
yes,
we need to turn to. And therefore, investing in the people relationships
correct.
and being there for each other is is um is what is important and key for all of us.
Yes.
And I'm happy that part of what we're doing here at CCGI is building those relationships. helping many people get to know each other. I am learning so much. I had never been to the US Virgin Islands before, and then to meet you and learn of Station Sabre and all these little islands as well. And understanding too how life can be so very different for you.
Yeah,
Because in as much as we do have a lot of similarities with our culture, uh,
yeah,
particularly for us at the southernmost part of the Caribbean, we don't usually have to contend with things like hurricane that can wipe out your infrastructure and then put you back to the point where for weeks you are waiting for things
yeah.
like food and basic needs for survival. So we have put the survey link in the chat to remind persons, do give us your feedback on the session this morning. But I see that Edward too has another comment. He says, automation sustainability is crucial to determine if
Yeah.
technologies advantage us to the context of the location. Yes, and this is
Yes.
a new point and an important point that we had not touched on for the week. So the sustainability using automation is crucial. You can use
Yeah.
it enhance in so many ways, but you have to look at it in terms of if it's advantageous.
Effective for the, yes, for the location that you're in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the young people in Station Sabre and whether you are finding, because one of the challenge we would have seen over the years is brain drain. Young people who move away for tertiary studies and all that, and then usually don't return. With the opportunities for learning in the online environment now, where you can get a personal tutor, AI, who is able to assist, how are young people in your area responding to this, and what is the mood like now in terms of are they going to embrace that and stay in the Dutch Caribbean, or are they still moving out a lot?
Well, we still have the same problem with the students leaving and not returning. However, the age has been bigger. Bigger basically, I will say when I attended high school, there's no universities or college on the islands. So by time you graduate from high school at the age of 14, you have to leave home. So you leave that comfortable nest with mom and dad and your siblings, and you have to go away to another island to study. So I left my home at the age of 15 to live in Aruba. This age, my daughter is 18 years old, and now is when she is leaving because the education system has changed. They are trying to keep the younger generation longer on the island because some of them, that's the younger age when they leave, they end up in situations that they should not be in, or they don't continue with their education and they come back home. Those who do stay in the Netherlands might have a strong support system. And then if you look at the Netherlands compared to our Dutch islands, they're only focusing on the money that they're making because basically you're supposed to get paid by your profession, where basically on other islands you are only getting paid a minimum wage and you continue to increase if you're not working in government or you're not working at the refinery. You get a basic minimum wage and then you increase from there. So that's where you have on Statia, a lot of persons have two jobs and own a business.
Hmm.
But I think they're still working on it. They are currently in the Netherlands speaking to the students. Some of the politicians are asking them to remain in the Netherlands, get more hands-on experience. So when they come home, all of that they have learned there, they'll be able to introduce it into the island, to the community. But that can play a major role where it comes to a lot of the older heads. You're not able to change the mind, and they are still there, and you're not able to climb the ladder to make the island more effectively efficient in order to grow. So it's a bit difficult.
But it continues to be a
It
challenge. It's
continues
one.
to be a challenge at this point, but I am I'm actually very happy to see a lot of the younger people trying to step up at this moment. We are having new elections at the end of the year, and we are encouraging more young people to take on major roles so that the island can actually grow.
Yes. I was in Suriname recently and I met a really brilliant young man who had done his university studies in Holland as well, but
Mhm.
returned to Suriname and is now head of one of their local content development agencies where,
Mhm.
he's very focused on taking his learnings and ensuring that he builds the young people in the area, which is really amazing because Suriname is one of those countries where there has been oil and gas find, so they would have quite a bit of money coming into the economy. So what you want to do with that is ensure that there is a constant build of your people so that they are able to benefit from this. And I'm happy to hear that moving away is fine. It does help, but returning and ensuring that there is opportunity to now use what you have learned to help make a difference
Mhm.
and to improve things. I have faith in you, Daniela. You're going to make a huge difference.
Well, we are working, as I said, in the chamber, we are trying to reach out to as many chambers across the Caribbean. Um, I am already in communication with ANS Logistics in Trinidad and Tobago. Um, we had some conversations before. In logistics, it's very difficult to get products from outside, also very costly. We're still working on it. We're still in communication. The hub that we currently use is St. Martin, so everything goes to St. Martin first,
Mm,
and then it is distributed to Ida, Sabre, and Stacia, and they go to St. Kitts and Nevis. So right now we are trying to work with our very close neighbors, St. Martin, St. Kitts, and Nevis, and then we are trying to really branch out to get that working relationship going.
yeah, excellent. And I would confess for me, these trade missions we've been going on has really been an eye opener for me to,
Yes.
to understand the rest of the Caribbean and meet people, who are making a difference. So as we come towards the end of this opening segment, I'm just going to look at the chat and appreciate Abia Lindy, who is one of our directors here. She's from Guyana, and she says that there is still a lot to learn and explore about AI, and conversations like these are necessary to close the knowledge and confidence gaps. So, excellent discussion. Thank you, Daniela. I think that was a
Yes.
great way to
Well,
end.
Miss Avina, she can, if she would like to visit Stacia, she can visit to Stacia. We have a lot of Guyanese community here. We're actually going to a event. It's every last Thursday of the month where you get to taste the different nationalities on the island. So I'm going to have my pulori and my roti. I actually just received my doubles today from my Trinidadian friend for lunch. So I'm not too far. I still have my culture. He made sure he put one of them with pepper. And so I'm basically international. Yes, Derek. Yeah, so I am reaching out to the different nationalities and learning, of course. And we just had an argument 2 days ago if it was goat curry or curry goat. But we're going to get to that later.
If
Yes,
I may,
so much.
Yeah.
Go
if
ahead,
I may
Abby.
hop on for a second, forgive my background, I'm at Starbucks. But
Oh.
Daniela, I visited St. Martin in 2018 with my daughters.
Mhm.
I stayed at the Simpson Bay Hotel. So I didn't
Yes.
think went to the island or station, but I have friends there who are nurses and stuff like that. So
Yes,
thank you for the
nurses,
invitation.
educators. Yes, we have
Thank you.
quite a few of them here.
All right. Thank you very much, Avia and Daniela. I want to say a very, very special thank you to you as we bring this opening segment to an end. Love seeing you. We are going to invite you again to CCGI for other conversations because this is how we learn and grow our network to ensure that we are there to support each other.